Welcome to the Las Vegas Holistic Health and Exercise Group. This is a holistic lifestyle class, first class, two-part series. My name is Daniel Rold. I'm a Czech practitioner, holistic lifestyle coach, advanced metabolic typing advisor, functional diagnostic nutrition, and NSCA certified personal trainer. That's my website, paleoathletics.com. My phone number is 702-335-1045. Why did I choose Paleo Athletics? I think all of these concepts basically relate to where we came from, how we developed. So I'm going to go over, this is from the Czech Institute, the primal movement patterns. The basic primal movement patterns. Now, if I were to take a complex motion, like say throwing a spear, okay, that's a very complex motion, right? You're using a lot of muscles in your body. If I'm throwing a baseball, I'm using a lot of motions in my body. Okay, it's going to all be based off of these 7 primal movement patterns. So you've got push, you've got pull, you've got bend, you've got twist, you've got squats, and you've got lunges, and then of course you've got walking, which is walking, jogging, and sprinting is what I meant to say on that. But anyways, so if you look at this motion pattern here, where he's throwing that spear, he's using basically a combination of a push, a twist, and a lunge. Okay, so if I put those all together, say I'm a baseball player, and I put a push, twist, you can see I'm lunging here, I'm twisting here, and I'm pushing here. Alright? So I'm doing all those patterns. So if I'm a baseball player, I want to be very good at pushing, twisting, lunging, right? If I'm a pitcher. So essential biomotor abilities for primal survival. We had to have these biomotor abilities in order to survive in the past, okay? Back when we actually had to work with our bodies to survive, okay? You needed coordination, flexibility, balance, agility, strength, endurance, speed, power. Power is a combination of strength and speed, and agility is a combination of coordination, flexibility, power, balance, and power. So we need to have all those things. For instance, okay, so strength, you're building a shelter and you're carrying rocks to build a shelter. Okay, you had to have strength. Or say you were carrying a kill back. You know, you killed a deer and you're carrying it back to the tribe. Well, you would have to have strength for that. You had to have endurance. Endurance is important. Imagine traveling with the herds. As the herds migrated south for the winter, you would have to travel. So maybe you traveled hundreds of miles to follow the herd. So you had to have endurance. Another thing that's very interesting, and look this up online, is called persistence hunting. There's a really good video that talks about persistence hunting. What persistence hunting is we're upright creatures. We walk on 2 feet, whereas animals work on 4 feet. Believe it or not, of course a dog or a horse or a cow will out-sprint us. There's no way for us to run that fast. But over long distances, believe it or not, we're actually more efficient. So we are designed this way. We actually are designed to be able to walk down animals and be able to overcome them because we're more efficient with our energy than they are over long distances, believe it or not. So it's very interesting. But if you look up persistence hunting online, you'll find some interesting videos on that. Speed, we had to have speed, right? If I was throwing that spear, that takes speed to throw that spear, right? So speed, I had to be fast. Power is being able to throw it. You know, if I had to throw something heavy, that's more of power. That's strength and speed combined. Coordination. Say I was made a kill and I'm running down a hill with rocks all over the place. Remember I talked about earlier, we live on flat surfaces with flat shoes. 10,000 years ago, we didn't have that. We had to walk around with our feet on the ground on rocky terrain. Okay. If you slipped when you're going after that kill or something like that and you broke your leg, then you may die. So we had to have coordination. Okay? We had to have flexibility. We had to be able to move through full range of motion. In fact, a lot of weightlifters or bodybuilders or power lifters that they're trying to get real strong and they don't do anything about flexibility. Okay? When your body lengthens, you use that whole range of motion, okay, in order to generate tension in that muscle. If I have a rubber band and it's too tight, that rubber band's not going to go very far. But if I pull a bigger rubber band and it's a little bit more flexible, then I can generate some power and that rubber band can shoot further, right? So if I'm limited in my range of motion, my flexibility, I'm not going to be able to generate as much power, and I'm not going to be as strong. You also had to have balance, agility, which is like I said, the combination of that. So you know, if I was going to throw a spear, I'd have to hit my mark, right? I'd have to be able to visualize it and send that spear in that direction. So I had to be very good at that, or else I wasn't eating for that day. So we had to have all these biomotor abilities. Most people today in their exercise programs, they either focus on strength or they focus on endurance, and it's one of the two. You either got triathletes or marathon runners, or you got power lifters and bodybuilders. I think there's a lot more that we can do. I mean, I don't have anything against bodybuilders or power lifters or marathon runners or triathletes. And I think what they do is individualized for each person. That's pretty awesome that they're doing it. And I respect everybody, but most people, the training programs that they do don't take into consideration these other biomotor abilities. So if you want to move like an athlete, if you want to feel good, if you want your joints to have the most range of motion, following these typical patterns that we're doing today in the gym, or these ways of exercise in the gym, these programs that we're doing, is not really going to give you that. It's not going to make you a better athlete. It's not going to make you more reactive. You have to train specifically for what you need.
I saw a check online, went on YouTube,
Yeah.
and I noticed everything he did was talking what you're talking about, his exercises. And I was like, bam, he was knocking out these exercises.
Oh,
Worked almost every muscle. But I noticed everything came from the core.
Yep.
I mean, he didn't say it, but I'm thinking that's core training. He was doing core training, but he was doing so much more that now you're explaining it. And I was hoping you would, because I was thinking he's doing so much more, but he's focusing on the core for the center of the balance. So I know he's branching out in other areas I'm not identifying. But this is starting to make sense now.
Yeah.
What he was doing.
Yeah, but it's just like where we come from. Where do we get our bodies from? How do we learn? I mean, how do our shoulders move like this? You know, I got this range of motion in my shoulders. Why is that like that? We were developed like that through our reaction to the environment.
So not only is the program set to adjust to the food conditions of the environment in which we adapted over thousands of years on, but it's also fit to recognize basically the way that our bodies were conditioned to perform for survival, and you're basically identifying those, and then you're targeting those to get the full flexibility. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think of everything that we need. This is a holistic approach. This is looking at everything that you have to take into consideration. This is looking at the body as not just a simple concept, okay, or as one. Okay, I need to fix my diet. Okay, there's other things involved if you want to be healthy. If you want to be healthy, if you want to be successful in your diet, then you need to exercise too. Then you need to have the right thought patterns. You know, all these other things. You have to get the right rest. You know, everything goes into this. You can't really. And I give these in a list in order. And I say, you know, okay, well, you have thoughts, and you have, you know, oxygen, and then you have water, and then you have, you know, so and so. But I can't take one of those things out of there. Like if I take the last one we're going to talk about is rest. If I take rest out of there, everything, you know, what's going to happen to your mind? You're not getting sleep. You get pissed off, you get angry because your mind's not right when you're asleep, when you're low on sleep. So I mean, everything's interconnected. You have to have this. This is the body. This is the hardware you've been given. Okay, and we can't match our ideas. We can't force our body to adapt to our ideas. We have to adapt our ideas to our body. Okay, and that's basically what this is doing. It's taking common sense information and applying it in a way that will benefit us based off of where we came from and what we are. You know, I think today that people are too far. They think like we've gone so far. We have this technology. You know, we drive around in cars. We talk on cell phones. We're caveman driving around in cars talking on cell phones. We're not any different than we were 10,000 years ago, significantly. You know, there may be some changes. You know, ability to digest a certain nutrient, something similar, small like that. But we're still the same creature that we were 10,000 years ago. And so, how did they live 10,000 years ago? What did they have? You know, what type of lifestyle did they live? And there's a lot of misconceptions about that too. People think, oh, these cavemen lived these short, violent lives and died at the age of 35. Well, I'm 34, and you know, I guess I would be an elder right now, huh? Yeah, I don't think that that's the case. I don't think that we died at 35 years of age. Maybe during the Middle Ages when you had, you know, intensified farming, and most of the farming was coming, and most of our food came from farming, and there was a lot of diseases, and people were packed, and they didn't have the same sanitation that we had today. Yeah, people's heads, their teeth rotted out of their heads, and they died at 35 years of age of violent deaths, or horrible deaths. I mean, that was the Middle Ages. That's why they call it the Middle Ages. But, you know, we base our history off that. We think, oh, well, if that was that way in the Middle Ages, that's the way the caveman lived. And that's just not true. If you read Dr. Price's book, you know, Nutrition and Physical Degeneration, he basically proves beyond a shadow of doubt that you know, people were extremely healthy eating natural foods, and that's where we came from. You know, we didn't all of a sudden just pop down here and start, you know, eating these crap foods. You know, we came through that whole development. You know, that's why we are who we are today.